Good evening, everyone. It's dark, but it's time. Tonight we're going to play Book 3 of the Golden Dragon series, another standalone adventure in that same series like books number 2 and number 1. This one is written as well by Oliver Johnson, just like the previous one. Let's hope that it's going to be a better experience though. The rules are the same as before with our stats in Vigor, Agility, and PSI. I kept the same as last one. Cannot kid ourselves, those were good rolls in the beginning of the first book. We have new items, new treasure. Actually, treasure is making a comeback after its appearance in the second book. Now we start with 8 gold pieces instead of 10 in the first book, like in the first book. For our items, we have a standard sword instead of a magical sword. Regular armor without any kind of another adjective like leather or whatever. We don't know what kind of armor it is. And a backpack as usual without any other kind of items. For the combat rules, it's the same as before as well. We're rolling 2d6. Usually higher is better. Most often than not, we need to roll at least 6, 7, or 8 get a good result. Otherwise, it's a bad result. Either we lose or they lose. Usually about 3 Vigor points. If we go to 0 Vigor, we're dead. And that's pretty much everything that there is to know regarding combat. Regarding the Umbro rules, just as the other adventures and as like in Lone Wolf, if we die, we're going to go back to the previous choice, make another one. If we die again, we'll go back to the previous one and take another choice until we run out of options. Usually we'll find a way to get through anyway. If we die in combat, we're going to take the flee option if there's one. If there's none, we're going to go back to a previous option, take another one. And if we get to a dead end, without any other options, we're going to go through the combat as if nothing has happened and we won. Same thing with the different kind of skill challenges if you want. If we ran out of options and hit a skill challenge that is impossible to vanquish with our current stats, we're going to go through so as to not be playing this game tomorrow morning. Try to finish this book tonight. That's pretty much it. There's a background to read for the second book as well. So let's start with this. You're a warrior in the elite Imperial Guard of King Valafor, Paladin King of Lalassa. Although this position might be expected to bring with it all the rewards and honor of the realm, things are quite different. 7 years ago, Valafor announced a crusade against the savage goblin hordes of Himilik and set out across the eastern mountains with a large army. Valafor, well, it's written Yalafor, left his brother. I guess the name of the guy is different from the country or something like that, but it's, well, it's King Valafor anyway. Let's guess that he has 2 different names, or there's an error here already on the second paragraph. So Yalafor, or Valafor, whatever, left his brother Avarok as regent of the kingdom in his absence. At first, Avarok's rulership was Asbening, and just as Valafor's, I guess the right name is Valafor, had been before him, but suddenly all this changed. Avarok locked himself away in the Imperial Citadel, Sternhold, and has not been seen by any but his generals and ministers for many years. From Sternhold, I guess it's another name, cruel edicts are issued which afflict the people with needless poverty and suffering, bound by duty to obey Avarok's commands, even while outraged by his injustice. You and your comrades in the Imperial Guard have become hated and feared as the instruments of oppression. To make matters still worse, news came from the east some months ago that Valafor's army had suffered a terrible defeat in the ice-rack hills of Himilik. The tattered remnants of the army are even now hobbling back to Lalassa without Valafor, reportedly slain by a volley of goblin spears. You look around your barrack rooms for the last time. The guard's chapel is dusty and seldom visited. The arms and armor of several of your comrades, executed at Avarok's whim, stand shrouded in cobwebs. You have resolved to depart tonight and seek out the greatest dangers in far lands, rather than stay and rot in this decaying realm. You mount your horse and pass down the narrow streets. A dreary mist hangs over the huddled bodies of the beggars and cripples whose only bed is the city's gutters. The sentries at the gate recognize you and stand aside to let you through. Outside, you spur your horse away from the city across open country. The miseries of Lalassa, you hope, are now behind you. The state of the countryside, however, is hardly better than that of the city. Brigands roam the moors unchallenged, robbing and murdering travelers. Lepers lurk in the deserted villages, scavenging for food. The once golden fields now lie overgrown with briars and thorns. A heavy chill lies on your heart as you remember the former glory of the realm. After a few days, you come to a dense forest. You're still riding through it when dusk settles, and finally dark night. In the distance, you hear the howl of a wolf. The hairs on the nape of your neck prickle, as you seem to sense thousands of eyes peering at you from out of the darkness. You are lost in the forest. Then, with a flood of relief, you see a glint of light through the trees. You urge your weary nag towards it, and soon discover a low rustic cottage set in a clearing. It presents a cheering sight, with lamplight flooding from the window and the smoke of a welcoming fire wafting through the chimney. Tethering your horse, you knock at the door. After a moment it is opened. A peasant woman stands before you, her face flushed from the heat of the stove where she has been preparing a hot stew. She seems anxious, but the sight of the imperial emblem on the clasp of your cloak reassures her. She beckons you in and closes the door. A hunched figure sits in a chair before the roaring fire. You see his head turn as he looks at you, but his face is his silhouette. Only when he speaks your name do you recognize him, and even then it takes you a moment to reconcile the voice with his frail form, for it is the voice of Valafor, and not Yalafor, your liege. You are overjoyed by this happy discovery that the king is alive, but as you step forward to kneel before him, you receive a second shock. In the firelight, you see that a terrible change has befallen him. Although in the prime of life, when he left on the crusade, his features are now wrinkled with age, his eyes rheumy, his hair white and thin. Hard to speak, but he holds up a trembling hand to silence you.
"Loyal subject and noble warrior," he says, "may be the last hope that I in the kingdom have of salvation. As you can see, the rumors that abound are wrong. I live, but I am horribly aged, and death flies towards me before my time. Attend then, and I will relate how this came to be so. After the battle in the Rock Hills, I escaped with a handful of survivors. All of them save I perished in the arduous trek across the mountains back to Lalassa. Eventually, I came to the borders of my kingdom, which I had left in such proud splendor many years before. But where I had left a rich and verdant land, I returned to find plague and famine. Worse, the people complained bitterly of Avarok's harsh rule, my beloved brother, who before had been the very soul of goodness. I determined to go about disguised until I had got to the heart of this. Weeks of travel and many perilous adventures brought me to Shadow Keep, black castle set atop a crag beyond the forest. Its master, Arcane Dark Robe, has long been known to me as one who will sow discontent and misery in the kingdom and revel in this unholy harvest of evil. Ah, had I but had the wisdom to direct my wrath against him and those who, like him, seek to spread the wickedness in fair Lalassa, instead of leading the army in a futile crusade to distant lands. I fought to the heart of the castle and confronted Dark Robe in a hidden chamber deep within the rock. There I learned from his own lips that he had used his necromancy to make my brother his undead slave, a vampire. Using base trickery to escape my avenging blow, Dark Robe unleashed a bolt of Theban lightning to strike me. Sorely wounded by his sorcery, I have no recollection of how I fought my way to safety. I remember only finding myself here, where this kind woman tended my fever with herbs. But the sorcerous wound Dark Robe inflicted on me has robbed me of my strength and vitality. My youth will be restored, and the soulless husk of my poor brother crumble to dust, only when the foul necromancer is slain. Take my sword. I charge you now, you are the first among the paladins. You must be the savior of the realm.
Gently you lift the broadsword from the lap of your king. The scabbard and hilt are of the finest ivory inlaid with gold and blood-red rubies. I guess we're a paladin without swords, since we need the king's sword to be armed. Okay. You draw it a few inches from the scabbard at Valafor's behest. The steel gleams in the firelight, and the blade is keen enough to cleave a man in two. From the tales you have heard, it also holds potent enchantment. Valafor tells you how you must travel to reach Shadowkeep. You will speak further, ask him of the castle defenses and the creature's dark robe employs as guards, but his old eyes close and he lapses into sleep. Before you leave, the woman thrusts into your hand a silver ring with a blue gem set into it. Remember to write this on your character sheet. Good. Well, first loot. Not even the first section. Perchance we read the background. Silver ring with the blue gem. You thank her and step out into the chill night. Your quest has begun. Now turn to section 1 of the Lord of Shadowkeep. Following the directions given to you by the king, you find a road which leads out of the forest into moonlit fields. Ahead of you lies a high crag, and at its top you fancy you can see the twinkling of a light. The landscape of the barren moor you are crossing is empty. Everything is deadly quiet except for the beat of your horse's hooves and the distant hooting of a owl. Suddenly you hear the sound of a horse galloping up behind you. Looking back, you see a black-cloaked figure astride a fierce charger approaching you at great speed. Like on the cover of the book, I guess. Will you try to outdistance him by spurring your own horse to a gallop, rein in and turn to face the rider, or leave the road and hide in the bushes? Well, I'm not too keen into the hide in the bushes option. Should start with a big fight. Seems like someone that can kill us at the beginning, so let's try that, shall we? You instinctively draw your sword as you see, beneath the rider's black cowl, the horrifying grin of a fleshless skull. Yeah, just like on the cover. Your enchanted sword cleaves through the frail body of the Dark Rider, and he and his mount collapse to the road in a heap of dry, lifeless bone. You may go on, or stop to examine their remains. Think we should investigate those remains and see what kind of enemy you will fight further down. Well, that was the most easiest fight ever so far. You find a parchment that the rider was carrying. It appears to be a rune for opening gates and portals. Remember to note this down on your character sheet. Rune for opening gates, I guess. Names of the items. Golden Dragon aren't all the time quite precise. Anyway. Alright, so we got already a silver ring and a parchment, and we read like, what, 3 paragraphs. You continue down the road until you come upon an oily black river. There is a sign that reads, Terry, straight ahead, and another pointing to the right, which says, Bridge, 200 meters. You can make out the shape of a black barge moored on the far bank. A shadowy figure stands at its stern. You may hail the ferryman, or ride along the bank to the bridge. Ferryman or bridge? Don't feel the ferryman. It sounds like going across the river Styx. Maybe you can take a look at the bridge. Following the signpost, you come to a rickety bridge. Braziers burn at either end, and so it is well illuminated. A crudely painted sign reads, Toll, hold your gold or your life. Before passing on to the bridge, will you deposit your gold in the box beside the sign, or will you ignore the sign and step onto the bridge anyway? Well, the gold is kind of useless. We're on a quest to save the realm. We don't need any kind of treasure. Let's pay the toll and be safe. As you cross over the bridge, an evil-looking troll lopes up to block your path at the far end. You hear a whinny behind you and turn to see that a second troll has just slain your horse where you tethered it to the bridge post. Damn. Okay. This troll is clutching the box containing your gold. He sneers and says smugly,
Now you've paid your toll. You can play with trolls.
I still remember Salsa Doom, or Salsa Doom rather. And we paid our toll and we fight the trolls anyway. Yeah, thank you. Didn't say, I guess we put in all our gold. You charge at the troll in front of you. He looks somewhat unnerved at your ferocity and barely manages to parry your first blow. Within moments, however, you are fighting for your life against the pair of them. First troll, Vigor 9, and second troll, Vigor 12. Kind of a hard fight to start compared to many of those we got in the previous 2 books. So we need to roll a 6 or more. They're not very agile though. Okay, first real fight of the night that we don't win instantly. 9, so we hit one of the troll of our choice for 3 vigors. Let's go with the smallest one. Five. We are hit once and lose 3 vigor. Two. Oh, that's really bad. We are hit twice and lose 6 vigor. Nine. So 3 vigor, and we're 1 hit short of getting the first troll. And he's dead. Alright, there's a note. Kill the first troll. Once the first troll is down, you can either flee onwards over the bridge or remain to fight the other one. I don't see why we should stay to fight the other troll unless he gives loot. Usually the fights are easier after the first one. Yeah, we could finish him off. I hope they don't resurrect. Or rather, regen themselves. The surviving troll battles on desperately. You need to... It's 6 anyway. It's not easier. Oh, damn. Another 3 Viger gone. Right, 1 hit. 2 hit. 3 hit. And it's dead. Just 12 Viger. So if you beat him, good. You find 12 gold pieces in a round stone with holes in it on the bodies of the trolls. The stone is a troll bowling ball. You may also recover your own gold from the box at the end of the bridge if you paid it as a toll. We have 20 gold pieces. Record what you take on your character sheet. I guess we can take the troll bowling ball. Troll bowling ball. Pass over the bridge, trudging towards a distant crag and regretting the loss of your horse. Soon you reach the edge of a swamp. You set off cautiously, trying to find a way through the mire. Well, better losing the horse right now, since we're not attached to it yet, and he hasn't a name yet. Could have lost our friend Monkey, Minki down the road at 2/3 of the book. So it's quite better. Yeah, still not salty about that. You're on a narrow track. The ground to either side is marshy and treacherous. Occasionally, evil-looking mists emanate from the bubbling mire to envelop you. Eventually, you catch sight of a stooped old man wending his way towards you along the narrow causeway. He wears a high, peaked cap and carries an oaken staff. As far as you can tell, he has not yet seen you. You may carry on to meet him, or you can leave the causeway and hide in the swamp. Well, maybe he'll be able to help us. As you draw close to the old man, he stops and addresses you.
I am Shamble Hawk, a blind old man. Step from my path and let me by.
Will you step off the path onto the swampy ground to the side of it? Or will you make him leave the path? Poor old man. Yeah, let's stand aside. You're surprised to find that the ground underfoot is quite firm, despite the bubbling ooze all around you. As he passes, Shamble tosses you his staff and a bag of acorns. The acorns will grow into strong limb oaks within a few seconds. Oh, that's what he says. There's a quote missing at the beginning.
The acorn will grow into strong limb oaks within a few seconds when you throw them down,
he tells you.
The staff will turn one of Darkrobe's minions into a trusted friend. I give you these gifts because you have shown kindness to an old man. Because you challenge evil, I will also give you some advice. Better than that which slays the monsters dire, and better than that which will possessions buy. Choose that which will be burned by fire, and line the box in which you'll one day lie.
Without another word, he shuffles on along the path. You ponder his riddle for a few moments, And then, pleased with the items he has given you, you return to the path and continue on your way. More items. Gave us a bag of acorns and a staff. It's a Shambal staff. And a riddle. I think we should take note of the riddle just in case it serves down the road. Let's say it's on section 202 and we'll go back there if needed. You see a welcome light ahead through the mist and realize you are nearly out of the swamp. Soon you arrive on dry land and trudge up to an inn. The torches outside gather in the chill breeze and barely illuminate the inn sign, which creaks overhead on its hinges. You make out the words, "The Night's Rest." There is a prone figure lying in the mud outside the door, but you can't make out whether it is a drunk or a corpse. You hear the sound of raucous laughter coming from inside. Do you want to continue along the road to Shadow Keep, or will you prefer to enter the inn? Well, it's the Night's Rest and we're tonight. So, sure. The inn is brightly lit and smells heavily. Over in a corner by the fire you see a knight clad in rusty antique armor. 3 unkempt ruffians play dice in another corner. The loud drunken shouts you hear come from them. The landlord stands at the bar cleaning glasses. Will you go over to talk to the innkeeper? Sit down at the knight's table, join the 3 ruffians, or leave the inn and continue along the road to Shadow Keep? I think it's standard courtesy to go to the innkeeper in the scenarios. Why not? The innkeeper watches you with small, unfriendly eyes as you explain your mission. Many a young upstart have I seen passing my door, he says with a cheerless laugh. Few even survive beyond the courtyard of the keep, which is guarded by a great unliving hawk that picks the eyes from foolish adventurers like yourself. Sneering, he returns to polishing the beer glasses. Although perhaps a little daunted by his words, you leave the inn and make your way towards the dreaded castle, without talking to the knight or the other guys. Because we don't have time. We're in such a hurry, I guess. But we know now there's a hawk picking eyes from adventurers. The path spirals up around the crag you seem to have been climbing forever when finally it levels out and in front of you there stands a gateway. On either side of the gateway, illuminated by the setting moon, 2 stone skulls stare down at you. You feel a premonition of doom, but not so doom, I hope. But manage to gather your courage and stride up to the heavy oak gate. Will you knock the mending entrance, or push the gate? Well, let's be polite. I, Lord Darkrobe, I wish to enter your keep. You hear the dragging of heavy footsteps across the yard within. There is a rattle of keys, and the oak portal is opened. Feverish yellow eyes glare at you from a scabrous white face, fringed with lank greasy hair. A hunchback ghoul confronts you, and you have no choice but to fight. A ghoul. Vigor, 12. And we need to score 7 or more. The ghoul will paralyze you if he wounds you 4 times with his putrid claws and teeth. Okay, so you need to not be hit 4 times, which is a good thing because you need to hit the ghoul 4 times to succeed. It's the first hit. We're hit once. Second hit. That's against us, so 2-2. Third hit. 3-3. Damn, the fight is hard tonight. And the ghoul is dead. Okay. Being hit 3 times for 3 vigor points each. We're down to 8 already. Ahead of you lies the moonlit courtyard and one of the looming towers of the keep. As you step through the open gateway, you notice a stone obelisk some distance to your left. Will you cross the courtyard to the tower, or will you first take a closer look at the obelisk? Just like in Dungeons and Dragons, we need to take a look at the strange dark obelisk. A shrill cry pierces the night. Looking up, you see a great bird of prey perched atop the tower. It does not seem to have noticed you in the shadows. Keeping close to the wall, you approach the obelisk and see that it is a pillar of grey stone carved to resemble entwined demonic forms. You may continue around the courtyard to the tower, keeping to the shadows of the wall to avoid detection, or you may examine the obelisk more closely first. No risk an obelisk with twisted demonic forms. Actually, I'm going to chicken out that one. Don't feel the... Yeah, they seem more like enemies than friends, don't they? The tower has 3 huge doors of iron, gold, and wood. You face these and try to decide which to take. Will you enter by the iron door, the gold door, or the wooden door? It's quite a good question. As usual, no tips or hints of any kind to know which door to take. I was feeling for the iron door, but maybe the wooden one. Yeah, let's try that. The wooden door closes with a thud behind you. You find yourself in a long corridor illuminated by torches burning in wall brackets. Along both walls there are a number of suits of armor, halberds rest in their hands at about head 8. Will you advance without further ado down the corridor, or will you get an item from your backpack first? Let's see what kind of items we can take. Do you have the troll's bowling ball? If not, you find nothing to use. They don't meet and we're going to throw the bowling ball down the alley and all the armor suits will... Okay. Guess we can try this. A troll bowling ball might be quite big. Sensing a trap, you take out the troll's bowling ball and roll it down the center of the corridor. You're satisfied to see that as it passes each suit of armor, the ball triggers off a hidden mechanism, which makes the halberds crash down. You realize that you could have been underneath them. The halberds are now locked in a down position, and you can step over them safely and continue down the corridor. Thanks to the trolls. You are in a vestibule with a window in the north wall. You look and see that a dark chasm separates the outer towers of the castle where you are from the inner keep. Looking up at the parapet of the inner keep, you fancy you can see the silhouette of a cloaked figure gazing down at you. Just then the moon passes behind a thick bank of cloud, and when you can see again, the figure is gone. Two staircases lead down from the vestibule. The left-hand one passes under a Gothic arch into a mist-shrouded graveyard. You can just make out a pathway snaking its way between some yew trees and gravestones to a door at the bottom of the inner keep walls. The staircase to your right leads down to an empty moonlit terrace overlooking the chasm. The top of a gigantic tree can be seen at the same level as the terrace, and it looks like it might be possible to climb down it to the bottom of the chasm. You must take one of these routes to reach the inner keep. If you would like to take the left end or the right end, so we can go left, let's go left. Even if it's the one with the mist-shrouded graveyard. You reach the bottom of the stairs and begin to wade uneasily through the wreaths of mist that hang around the graveyard. Suddenly there is a deep groan from one of the graves and a ghost leaps up in front of you. Roll 2 dice and try to score less than or equal to your current PSI. Yup, it's less or equal. Succeed. You recover from your fright to see that the spectre is hovering before you, moaning softly. You bend closer and hear that it is speaking to you.
I am the ghost of Sir Sylvestus, a noble knight of Lalassa. I was slain in my attempts to overcome the Lord of Shadowkeep, and was buried in this gloomy spot. Listen to my advice, for my time with you is short. There are 2 ways through the keep. You'll get to them through that door.
He points to the ivy-choked doorway you saw from above.
Take the route to the east, whatever you do. Don't take the ball of string from the ogre you will meet. It's a base trick. If you find an alchemist's laboratory, you must drink a potion labeled for high flyers only. You will need it to complete your quest. A fellow ghost slain perfidiously by Dark Robe roams the corridors outside the Lord's chamber. Accept her assistance as you have accepted mine, and at last justice will return to the land.
You remember Sylvestus as being rather a withdrawn, melancholy knight when you knew him in Lalassa many years before. Do you want to risk offending him by testing the truth of his story? Or if, however, you are happy with the story? Yeah, sure, I guess. Take the route to the east. Going to the east is always nice. Don't take ball of string from ogre. Drink potion for high flyers only. Help the ghost outside the Lord's chambers. We don't have time to be untrusty towards fellow dead knights. Moaning softly, the ghost of Sylvestus melts away into the mist. You make your way to the doorway on the other side of the graveyard. It is choked with ivy and creepers, and you can't reach the handle. As you're trying to hack a hole through to it with your sword, a spider the size of a dog drops on you from above. Giant spider, Vigor 6. If we roll 2, we die. So we need to roll 6 or more, and absolutely not 2. That's the first hit, and we just need another one. That's not another one. We really need another one. There we go. I guess we're still not used to the King's Sword to be so clumsy in battle at the beginning. You cannot flee this battle. Alright, we won anyway. You're rather surprised that Sylvestus didn't warn you of the presence of the spider. Perhaps he had been roaming the graveyard for so long that he'd forgotten it was there. Still, you're now ready to continue on your way. So, was Sylvestus a treacherous liar? You twist the door ring and the door creaks open on rusty hinges. Ahead of you is the dark passageway leading up into the heart of Shadow Keep. You hold your torch up. I don't know where we got the torch, but thanks. And move forward cautiously down a long corridor. Passing several side tunnels which you ignore. Sure, we can do that as well. You emerge through an archway into a small chamber with a wooden door set into the wall in front of you. There is an arched window to your right. Through it, you can see the first flakes of a snowstorm whirling down. You approach the door cautiously and peep through the keyhole. Step back in alarm when you see huge bloodshot eyes staring back at you. A deep bark shakes the door, followed by a frenzied howling. There is evidently a large dog behind the door. You want to open the door, hoping this dog is friendly? Or on the other hand, you will prefer to open the window and crawl along the ledge you can see outside. But the window will go in the same room. There's the dog anyway. I guess that if we go through the window, we can look before. You haul yourself out onto the ledge and inch your way along it, clutching onto the stonework above you with frozen hands. You look down and see a sheer drop beneath you of the hundreds of feet. You've soon drawn level with a lighted window and peep in. You can see a huge mastiff dog looking at the door. Obviously the door into the chamber you have just left. Yeah. Surprise! You want to force open the window, hoping the dog is friendly? You'd prefer to carry on inching your way along the ledge. Well, we didn't hear the dog. Yeah, he barked. I recall we read about barking. Yeah, a big bark and a frenzied howling. I'm not sure. I seem to be trusting that dog. You push open the window and the dog turns around, wagging its tail. You jump down and open the door for it, and it rushes out to snuffle at a wall in the chamber outside. If you'd like to continue through the now empty room, or if you'd prefer to see what the dog's interested in. Ah, yeah. Well, maybe the dog's interested in something, or yeah, right. See a faint crack in the brickwork where the dog is standing. There is an empty torch bracket on the wall, and the side is maybe a secret lever. You pull it down, and a stone block swings away, revealing a hidden room. Easy as that. A fountain bubbles in the center, surrounded by a pool. There is a door in the north wall of the chamber. Would you like to investigate a fountain? Or if you'd like, just go through the far door. Yeah, sure, let's check the fountain. You walk over the edge of the pool and have a look at the fountain. There are two ornately carved statues at the center of it, spouting water. Lodged between them, you can see a pair of green elven boots. Do you want to wade through the water to get the boots? Or if you'd prefer to leave through the door. I have a strange guess that we will need those boots at some points. So let's risk it. And if we die, we will simply go back without the boots. Let's go dice. It's time to roll good. 7. Yeah, we need to roll 7 or more, so that's good. Oh yeah, it's a water monster. Vigor 9, so now he's down to 6. You know it's as bad. Next roll, we either died or not. And we're dead. Okay, no boots for us. Leave through the door. You walk across the chamber and open the door. It gives onto a passageway which you walk down. Another big paragraph with one sentence. You're now standing in a small hallway in front of 2 large bronze double doors. Carved onto them are bizarre figures of beings, half bull and half human. You pass through the doors and find yourself in a corridor running east and west. You can go west or east. Let's go east. We can. Soon after you have left the bronze double doors, you see a closed door to your right. You hear an extremely faint bubbling noise coming from inside. Do you want to go in and investigate? Or, if you prefer to continue. Isn't it the same bubbling noise before? Maybe not. Well, lots of stuff is bubbling around here. You enter a small laboratory. There are instruments scattered over the work tables, and a quantity of multicolored glass vessels and wooden vats stand here and there, full of strange liquids bubbling merrily. A small brown mouse is sitting on the edge of one of the vats, staring at you incuriously. You decide to investigate the various liquids. Only 3 containers are labeled. First reads, Rat Poison Antidote. The second, Thor High Flyers Only, instead of 4. And the third, Strong Stuff. The tame mouse doesn't constitute any threat of a rat-like nature, but if you would like to pour some of the rat poison antidote into a bottle for later use, do so and mark it down on your character sheet. Sure. Rat poison antidote. If you'd like to drink some of the High Flyers brew, but it said drink 4 High Flyers only, and it was written Thor High Flyers only. So is it an error in the book? Or it makes sense to not drink that? Okay, let's trust that it's not an error. And the ghost said to drink only the 4 High Flyers only. And it's written Thor High Flyers. So let's skip that. But do we want the strong stuff? It sounds like alcohol. And let's try it out. You swig back the strong stuff and feel waves of health coursing through your body. You have recovered 10 vigor. At least your current, but do not exceed and extra points are wasted. Okay. Delighted by your discovery, you lean forward to drink some more, only to find that the vat has suddenly emptied. The mouse sitting at its edge seems to frown at you, but scuttles away when you glare at it. You leave the room and turn right down a passageway. You descend a flight of steps into a high chamber filled to the ceiling with dusty old furniture and weapons. Amongst the debris, you notice war banners once carried by the proud knights of Lalassa into battle. You vow that should you survive your encounter with arcane dark robe, you will return and place the banners in the chapel of your knight's hall in the capital. You make your way through an avenue in the stacked furniture and eventually come to a heavy wooden door, under which you see a light. Pressing your ear against the door, you hear from within a loud snuffling noise. Then a grunting followed by a prodigious belch. You decide to enter the room. Yeah, those are great indicators that it's a good idea to enter the room. Well, it sounds like an ogre after all. So we just have to not take the ball of string from the ogre. An ogre is sitting at the table, gnawing at a human thigh bone. He looks up at you with an angry expression, its teeth chomping on gristle, which spills out over its thick, rubbery lips. "What do you want?" it asks, dipping the thigh bone into a dish of pepper in front of it. The only other exit from the room is immediately behind the ogre's table. Do you want to back out of the room and return to the way you came? Or if you would like to rush into the room and fight the ogre? Or if you would like to offer it some werewolf wine, if you have any. Don't. Don't take the ball of string from the ogre, but there's none to be seen around. Should we fight the ogre? It sounds like a bad idea. Sounds really like a bad idea. Don't feel like going back though. So let's try it out. We have 15 Vigor now. As you rush into the room waving your sword, the ogre stands up, grabbing the thigh bone to use as a weapon. Just as it does so, some of the pepper gets up its nose, and it sneezes horribly into the dish in front of it, sending a cloud of pepper towards you. Roll 2 dice and try to score less than or equal to your current agility to evade the cloud of pepper. Less than or equal. Nope, we rolled over. So we failed. We're going to sneeze. A cloud of pepper dust envelops you and you let out a horrible sneeze. The ogre, however, has recovered from its own sneezing fit and belts you with its bone. Before you can recover, you lose 3 vigor points. You must fight it if you are still alive. Ogre Vigor 12. So he evened the score before starting a fight. We need to roll 6 or more. We can, if you wish, you may flee back the way you came. We need to draw the dice as usual, so we can be hit when we flee. See how it goes. Yeah, first hit, we need 4 to down this ogre. Nope, 1 to 1. 2 hit in our favor. 2, 2, 2. Nope, advantage ogre. It's even again, so the decisive roll. Hey, victory! Only have 3 vigor left though. Lots of bad rolls tonight compared to the other nights. The ogre lies in a pool of greenish blood. You step over its body, pushing aside a table which was smashed in the fighting. You notice a ball of string next to the door. There is also a half-gnawed human thigh bone in one of the ogre's hand, and a copper key hanging from a chain around its neck. If you would like to take any of these items, well, we can take the half-gnawed, anyway, the thigh bone. Now, the thigh bone should be useful. A copper key. And we don't take the ball of string. Where it was. If you take the string, it's so important that there's a paragraph just for it. It's Really tempting to take the string, but he said not to, so let's obey Sylvestus. You leave the ogre's room and make your way north down a rock-choked corridor. Eventually, you reach a junction where tunnels lead off to the left, the right, and in front of you. You hear the distant roar of some animal, but can't make out which of the tunnels it came from. You want to go left, right, or straight on? Go left. The passage winds off into the darkness, turning to the left and then to the right. Eventually, you reach a chamber with a door in the right-hand wall and an archway opposite you. To your left, a bedraggled young man is chained to the wall.
Here, cook, let us free, will yer? I've been hanging here a flippin' fortnight.
He shouts at you through a beard covered with straw and filth. Will you pass through the archway ignoring his plea? Or will you go up to him and set him free? Sure, I guess we can help him. As you step up to let the young man free, a look of glee passes over his face and he slips the chains from behind his back and over your head. Ah, damn.
Okay, Bauer, he yells. Let's do this, sire.
There is a bellow from behind you and the door on the right-hand side of the chamber swings open, silhouetting the form of an enormous man with a bald head. It rushes at you, slavering madly as you struggle with the chains. Do you have the human thigh bone? Yes, we do. How will it be used? You reach into your backpack and fumble around desperately for the thigh bone. You throw it down in front of the Minotaur just as it's about to gore you. It falls on the bone like a playful dog and begins to chew at it, having forgotten all about you. You turn to glare at the young man, but he's already running off through the archway, yelling back at the Minotaur,
You blinking idiot! Do the geezer not the bone!
The Minotaur seems quite happy with the bone, however. Do you want to follow the young man, or if you'd prefer to retrace your steps? Maybe we can make friend with the Staff of Friendship? After a while, you come to a dripping cistern. I guess we lost the guy. Set into one of the rocky walls of the tunnel. Looking into it, you notice with disgust that the liquid in it looks like blood. Have you got the bull's horns? No. If you haven't, you continue down the tunnel. Continuing along the tunnel, you have to pass under an overhang in the rock wall. Suddenly a net drops on you from above, and you're entangled. The young man you encountered earlier on leaps down from the overhang, brandishing a knife, obviously intending you no good. That's where he was. So young man, Vigor 9. Going to be hard. If we roll 2, we die. Otherwise, we need to roll 7 or more. Or we die as well. 8. It's good. First hit. We need 2 others like that. 7. That's good. That's good. And victory. With our 3 Vigor. Good. You cannot flee because you are entangled in the net. If you win, we did. You realize you are now lost in the heart of the labyrinth. Do you have the ball of string? Nope. If you haven't, you decide to carry on regardless. You walk a long way down the tunnel until you feel a breeze on your face coming from in front of you. There is another tunnel on your left, which you think leads back into the labyrinth. so you ignore it. A bit further on, the tunnel turns into a normal corridor, which ends with a locked grill. Past the grill, you can dimly see a vast dark hall lined with thousands of books. Do you have the Ogre's key? Yes, we do. You insert the key in the lock and turn it. There is a faint click and the grill swings open noiselessly. You creep forward into the hall, keeping to the shadows of the enormous drapes that hang down from the walls. Looking around the corner of one of the immense bookcases, you see in the light cast by a chandelier, immediately above his head, a horrible misshapen dwarf. He is stroking a large wart on his bulbous nose with one hand and writing something with the other. The desk he's writing at is quite a distance away. Will you like to use a throwing dagger? Or if you'd prefer not to, but we don't have one. Maybe he's a friendly dwarf? You rush across the library towards the dwarf. He looks up from his ledger and makes a gesture with his pudgy little hands. An aura of sparkling blue light envelops you, and you feel racking pins and needles in all your limb. Roll 2 dice and try to score less than or equal to your current PSI. Yeah, it's equal. Succeed. You manage to shrug off the effects of the spell, and the tingling in your limbs begins to recede. You swipe at the dwarf, preparing to remove the smirk from his face forever. I'm not sure with 3 vigor. You think it will be an easy job to finish off the little man. As you carve down at him with your sword, however, he steps to one side nimbly and delivers a mighty kick on your chin. Deduct 2 vigor points. Damn, he doesn't even give us the right to fight him correctly. Doesn't change much, being at 1 or 3 vigor. Since in most of the fight we lose 3 at once. The dwarf has now pulled out a small rapier, which he waves in front of your face. A dwarf vigor 9. We need to roll 7 or more. And 1 bad roll, we're dead. First hit. We're dead. So well, let's go through the fight, I guess. We were kind of close, actually, so... Let's try it out a bit more, just in case. Yeah, well, that's a hit. But that's a hit again. See if we try to fight. We will be dead again with a retry, but we hit him 3 times, hit us once or twice. Good enough. You look at the yellowing paper of the ledger. It is open at a page that bears today's date and seems to itemize the bizarre bill of fare offered up for supper tonight at Shadowkeep. Item: 2 country maids for the ghouls. The ghouls' dinner. Item: 2 gallons of peasant's blood left in pails for the vampires. Item: bat's wings garnished with beetles for the lord. The tray left outside his door, as he was occupied in magical arts. There are many similar entries on previous pages. You realize there must be legions of undead creatures lurking in the cellars and dungeons underneath the castle. There are 3 exits at the north end of the library, all are stairways leading down into the darkness. There is a fragment of red ribbon by the left-hand exit and a small splash of blood on the floor by the right-hand stairs. The central stairway has no distinguishing marks by it. Which staircase will you take, the central, left, or right? As usual, you know it. Let's go left. You inch your way down the stairs to a dark passageway, holding your torch up to the dripping walls. You see that the stone has been scratched as if someone had been dragging their fingernails along it. Just as you're thinking it might have been a better idea taking another passageway, you feel a presence behind you. You see a bald, smartly uniformed man standing behind you in the shadows. He bears fang-like teeth and a cordial smile of greeting. "May I take your cloak, sir? The others are waiting for you," he says. If you'd like to hand over your cloak and let him usher you through a doorway you can now see to your left. Or if you refuse to hand over your cloak, yeah, sure, we can go left if we give our cloak. That I didn't know we had anyway. The doorman removes your cloak and opens the door on your left. From it comes the sound of merriment and much clinking of glasses. "Whom shall I announce?" he inquires. You find yourself standing at the head of a small staircase. There are a number of ghouls below you sitting around a table laden with strange meats. They have all fallen silent at your entry and are eyeing you expectantly. You think quickly. "Tell them I am the first knight of Lalassa," you tell the major domo. The major domo booms out. "Gentlemen ghouls, the first knight of Lalassa." One of the ghouls blurts out, "More like the first course of our dinner." Another, looking at your armor, makes a disparaging remark about tin food. All the ghouls fall about laughing, but you can turn back now as the doorman is shepherding you down the stairs. You notice with disgust a menu board that reads, "Today's specialty, maidens in tarragon sauce." You find yourself seated at a table between two ghouls. The one on your left is already extremely drunk and leers at you greedily through his bloodshot eyes. The one on your right is steadily engrossed in gnawing a footman's leg. A waiter comes up and places a covered dish in front of you.
"Specialty of the day, sir,"
he announces, whipping off the lid. The drunk ghoul leers at you again, daring you to eat. Will you eat a little bit just to sate his curiosity? Or if you'd prefer to order some wine. I think we did worse in World of Lone Wolf. But I'm not sure. It's quite healthy to eat dead people. Ordering wine is a good idea, though. You call the waiter over and order some wine. He comes back with a fine vintage Chateau d'Ombre, which he pours into your glass and into your neighbor's. You sip it delicately, finding it to have a full body, a pleasant bouquet, with perhaps just a hint of lurking evil. Your neighbor also seems to appreciate the wine, and is soon drunkenly talkative. He points out a door in the far corner of the room, which he says leads to Dark Robe's chambers. After about an hour, most of the ghouls are slumped over the table, totally glutted, or rolling around on the floor drunk. You push back your chair and make your way over to the far door unnoticed. On the other side, you find yourself in a small hallway with a solitary torch burning in a bracket on the wall. There is one other door. A covered dish lies on a table beside it. You decide to go in. Wasn't it the dish of the Lord? We could have poisoned it or something. You find yourself in the reception room of a sumptuous apartment. Rich tapestries hang down the walls, and expensive-looking bronze urn stands on plush carpets. Down one corridor, you can see a series of well-executed portraits. You decide to go straight on towards an iron-girded door, which stands in a stone archway. Just as you get to it, however, a woman's voice calls out to you. Ah, that's the dead woman outside the Lord's chambers. You whirl around and see a tall, raven-haired woman dressed in a sheer red dress appear from behind one of the curtains and come over to you. She seems to walk with an odd, gliding motion. She looks around furtively as she does, so as if she thought you were being watched. You see she is holding a tray with a black, studded leather gauntlet on it. She bows before you. Hail, noble champion, she says. Arcane Dark Robe, the Lord of Shadow Keep, waits beyond that door. She indicates the doorway you were about to go through with a nod of her head. To overcome him, you will need all the skill of a paladin knight of Lalassa, and this. She holds up the tray. It's a gauntlet of strength. Will you accept the lady's gift? Well, Sylvestus told us to accept the lady's assistance. Should. So far, outside the spider, which was quite easy to kill, he's been truthful. The ball of string didn't blow in our faces. We didn't drink the tall high flares on the potion, and everything's fine. I'm so glad you want my gauntlet, she says sweetly. But before you can take it, I must have something valuable in return. Otherwise, the cruel magical spell that protects the gauntlet will disband my ghost forever. That ring, for example, seems to have no magical power, but is made of a precious stone. She elegantly points out the ring the peasant woman gave you in King Valafor's hut. Will you take it off and exchange it for the gauntlet, or refuse to part with it? Let's trust Sylvestus all the way. You slip off the ring and place it on the dish, picking up the gauntlet as you do. You pull it on and it fits snugly. Suddenly you yell out in pain. It feels like an icy vice is crushing the end with the gauntlet on it. Unfortunately, you find you can't pull the glove off. The lady tosses back her head and hoots in evil merriment, disappearing into the thin air with your ring. Damn you, Sylvestus! You have now got a gauntlet of weakness. Subtract 2 from all your combat rolls from now on. You have no option but to face Arcane Dark Robe with his handicap. Gritting your teeth, you swing open the iron-bound door, and without the silver ring. Damn you, Sylvestus. You pass through the door into a vast vaulted hall. Moonlight streams through an arched window set high upon on the wall, casting a pool of light on a thick pall of mist that completely cloaks the floor. You see a cold figure standing by the edge of the pool of light. All that is visible of a face under the cold is a dead white cheek puckered with ugly scars. Light glints off the tip of the blade of his scythe, held in the cold figure's gauntlet in hand. The silence is broken by Dark Robe's hollow voice. So, Paladin Knight, you are to be congratulated, for you have come as far as your king came, into the presence of Arcane Dark Robe, now Lord of Shadowkeep, but soon Lord of all Lalassa. You will bow before my sorcery like your king, and do me obeisance. You are filled with fury at his vain, mocking words. You want to rush in on him immediately if you prefer to use one of the items you have collected first. Let's see the items that we have. If you have them, which of the following will you like to use? A potion of invisibility? Nope. A throwing dagger? Nope. A ring that King Valafor's servant gave you? Nope, we gave it away. If you have known of these items or don't want to use one of them, you rush at Dark Robe. The red poison antidote? No? No? Okay. Trying to catch him off guard. You rush forward, shouting out your battle cry. Dark Robe stands unmoving, not even bothering to lift his weapon. Suddenly you realize your feet are treading air, and you topple head over heels into a vast pit, which was concealed by the mist. If you made friends with the Golden Hawk. We didn't. It was an evil hawk. You fall down and down, your head spinning with dizziness. The top never seems to end, and you hear the cruel laughter of Arcane Dark Robe in your ears. Suddenly, there is a bone-shattering impact, and all goes black. Your adventure ends here. Yeah, we've been lied to the whole adventure from start to finish, except by Shambol at the beginning. All the others were. Huh. Alright, so let's go back and see what we can do with that. We don't have any of those items. We could have the ring though. The best course of action would be to go back and not give the ring, I think. If we need to go back up to this one. Okay, now one here. The same section. Refuse. Before or after. It's not the same. I guess that we are going to go back to the first choice in reverse order. So let's try to take the gauntlet, but refuse to give the ring. And it goes like this. All of a sudden, the lady drops the tray, throws back her head, and lets out a hideous shriek. Your hair stands on end, and a terrible chill seizes your chest. Roll 2 dice. And try to score less than or equal to your current BSI. The success. You manage to recover your wits and strike out at the lady with your sword. It passes clean through her, and she vanishes into thin air with a low moan. You turn again to the iron-bound door. It's not the same. Oh yeah, that's the last one. I just didn't write it, I guess. Yeah, there's a missing step there. Let's see what kind of items that we have. Now we have the ring. You hold up the ring on your finger. Suddenly a blue light seems to explode into the hall from the ring, illuminating the farthest recesses and highlighting every stone. The mist on the floor are driven away like smoke in a strong breeze. And you see an awful yawning pit just in front of Darkrobe. He clutches his eyes in pain, and you rush at him, yelling the battle cry of the Knights of Lalassa. Just before you reach him, he swings his scythe through the air, and there is a sudden clap of thunder. Black lightning bolts fork out from the tip of the scythe towards you. Roll 2 dice and try to score less than or equal your current agility score. Yep, it's equal. Success. You leap out of the way, deflecting the bolt of lightning with your sword. As you get to your feet, you see that some strange energy has passed into the sword from the lightning. Blue light seems to burn up and down its blade. Oh, just like the magic sword from the previous two books. There's a recurrent theme here. A look of panic passes over Darkrobe's face as you close on him, holding out the sword. Arcane Darkrobe. I don't know, we are going to kill him with our 1 Vigor. Vigor 18. Less any lost before. I don't think he lost any. So we need to roll 8 or more. And if we roll 11, it's kind of a critical hit. Weirded. 2 Vigor, boom. Let's try again anyway. 9 is a nice hit. It's a 4 Vigor. So he's down to 14. Dead again. Yeah, well, I don't think we're going to win this fight. Sadly, the boss fight, we're so low in Vigor because of all the bad rolls throughout the night. How could we make that interesting? Let's see if we had 18 Vigor, just like Arcane Dark Robe. With the 3, we lose 4. 8, he loses 4, so we're even 14 to 14. 6, we lose only 2, since it's a glancing blow. 12, 14. It's a hit. 12 to 10. 4. 8 to 10. Bad rolls again. 7. That's we get a glancing hit. 6 to 10. 7 again. We're down 4 to 10. 9. It's a hit against Dark Robe. So we are 4 against 6. 7. It's 2 against 6. 8. We hit 2 against 2. Oh, that's quite an even fight if we have the same Vigor score as Lord Dark Robe. We're dead. Well, anyway, let's go to the next chapter. As if we won the fight, sadly we didn't. And we couldn't score a critical hit. The critical hit was 10 Vigor against Dark Robe. Your last blow passes right through Darkrobe's chest. He lets out a hoarse cry that seems to make the very foundations of Shadowkeep tremble. He staggers back, his eyes ablaze with hatred, and grabs a metal ring set into the wall behind him. There is a sudden gust of snow and howling wind as he pulls at it, and a secret door opens in the side of the keep. You are blinded by the blizzard for a minute. When you can see again, Darkrobe is gone. You rush to the door and look down. Your head spins when you see below you a drop of thousands of feet. You pull the door to with a thud. There is a deadly hush over the keep, as if all its inhabitants had perished with their master. Find a stairway that leads up to one of the towers and emerge onto its parapet just as the first streak of dawn bars the sky. Soon the golden disk of the sun will rise above the ice-rock mountains, spreading its warming rays. Somewhere below you, the king will also be rising, his wound healed and his vigor restored. He will ride to the capital with you at his side and reclaim his rightful throne. Only then will righteousness and justice be Lalassa's once more. And that's it for the Lord of Shadowkeep. Shorter adventure, similar to the first book. The second book was kind of drowned out with bugs and everything. We had to redo kind of the adventure almost twice because we had to change path midway. It was a total nightmare. This one went way better, even if we had a bunch of bad rolls during the fights through the night. Sadly, we didn't kill Dark Robe properly. But way better experience than last week. So we'll see next week, book number 4. I didn't check the title though. Book number 4 of the Golden Dragon series, The Eye of the Dragon. Same time next week, same channel.